Hey guys, and welcome to another GameXplain discussion. I'm your host, Andre Seegers, and this time we're joined by Derek Bittner and Ash Paulson to discuss the latest ARMS Direct, including the sick new Splatoon 2 trailer. So let's get to it. Alright guys, Nintendo just wrapped up another ARMS Direct, which is something they've been doing recently, where they're focusing in on just one or two games, in this case just ARMS plus a little bit of Splatoon, and they really blew out the game here. As far as I can tell, based also on my playtime a week or so ago with the game, or a few days ago, it seems like they basically showed us most of the whole game here, which is awesome. So it gave us a better idea what to expect in terms of characters, arms, modes, like we saw the new hoops mode, volleyball mode, the skill shot mode. We got a little bit a glimpse of the single player in the form of the Grand Prix, and they also divulged how online is going to work, how there's now a party mode where you can group up with apparently I think 20 other people, all in the same room, then have your own little smaller battles within that. It all looks, to me, extremely promising, but I've played the game, so let's go skip my impressions for now. What did you guys think of everything you saw here?
I think they handled this extremely well, like just breaking down each of the characters, really going over each of their arms and saying, like, just giving like little tips on like how we could best use them, and then just all the content that they showed off as far as like multiplayer, different modes, how the single player will work in the form of the Grand Prix, how that's even two-player, the local matches, and then just all the new characters, which still, the character design on this game continues to be strong. But the two smartest things they did in this, I believe, is one, the test punch, the global test punch, where there's going to be 6 individual days for people to actually play the game, try it out themselves, fight other people online. That is a brilliant move. And another thing that I just did not see coming is the fact that they're going to have free content after release, including new maps and new characters. That is huge. Like, this to me tells me that Nintendo's like, huh, this really worked for Splatoon, let's try it again for ARMS and see if it works. And I think it has a good chance.
They're going full Splatoon here.
Yeah. No, and I mean, I think that's important to note. I mean, clearly the Splatoon plan worked out for them, and they're going to try using it again with ARMS. And I agree with you, Derek. I think one of the best things they could have done was announce that ARMS Global Test Punch, because this is exactly the kind of game, like Splatoon at the time, it was a new IP, kind of untested. This is exactly how you get people into this game. People who are on the fence, people who don't know what this game is, but they have a Switch. Get them into that test punch, and that helps them decide, oh, this is totally a game I want to buy. Outside of that, I think this is a very well-paced Direct, very well-structured. They really broke down every character nicely and just, hit every major point quickly, but they went just enough in depth on each point that I didn't feel like they were going too fast. And I like that we really just got the whole breakdown. We got all 10 launch characters, we got all the multiplayer modes, some single player stuff. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this Direct, especially relative to the last one, where I still ended that Direct not quite sure how I was feeling about the game, but I think this Direct kind of pushed me over the edge. I'm like kind of pretty excited now about it.
I think part of the issue with the last Direct is it focused mostly on the smaller details of the game. Like, we already knew the broader stuff, like the characters and the core gameplay. They didn't really reveal too much new there. It was more of a breakdown of how the game plays. And while there was still some of that here too, we also got a steady stream of brand new announcements that we didn't know about, like characters, stages, modes, and whatnot. So this really did provide just a great look at the game overall. And I can say, I don't want to focus too much on my hands-on time in this discussion. I think we'll do a separate discussion for that. But let me just say, this game is a blast. And I thought this Direct did a great job capturing that. And that, as you touched on, Derek, with the character designs as well. Like, I think the characters in this game look awesome. Especially the brand new ones, or the ones we didn't know about before. Such as like Kid Cobra or Bite and Bark, which I love. That is such a cool character. The design is just really strong in this game. And between this and Splatoon 2 coming, like, this is a 1-2 punch, if you will, of just freaking awesome multiplayer.
Speaking of 1-2 punch, I think we all need you to come clear, Andre. Clearly, you have been moonlighting, helping them write the scripts for this ARMS Direct. There were so many awful puns, and every time there was one, I was thinking of you. I was like, Andre totally helped write this.
I really should be, if GameXplain ends up not working out, I really have to apply for the treehouse, right?
I mean, yeah, no, so many puns that reminded me so much of you. And before we move on, I do want to comment on the new characters, because you guys mentioned Bite and Bark and Kid Cobra. I am a huge fan of Twintel. Like, I never thought for a second that like one of the 3 remaining characters would be a black woman, and I'm loving the diversity in this roster.
Yeah,
like that is such a cool thing.
Oh, I didn't know you were surprised by that, because we saw that little hint of like the other 3 characters, and everybody was trying to decide, along with Helix, like what their gimmicks were going to be, and it was clearly showing that she was a person of color. The thing that weirds me out about her, though, especially in this game, she has normal arms. It's her hair that does the punching, and that's weird. Which
I think is even cooler, though. Like, I love the little glimpse of the way she played. I really liked, like her hair attacks and the way she moved. Like, I'm really loving the diversity in this roster. It's so cool.
And she's fun to play with, let me tell you. But she's got the slow motion thing that slows down any arms that enter, like, that get close to her, for instance.
Nice.
And yeah, I do love like the whole hair thing, and as you mentioned, the diversity as well. I said before, as soon as they shut off this game, and I'm not the first one to say this, I'm not taking like credit for it. I didn't start a trend here, but this reminded me of Overwatch, which itself has a very diverse roster, and this is only continuing with these latest characters. And I can only imagine what might be coming down the line. Like we're just getting started here, kind of like how same thing for Overwatch. You know, they started off with the core cast, they kept expanding it, and I really can't wait to see what else is coming. Even based on my playtime so far, and granted, it was only 3 hours or so, if they had, like, if this were just the game and there was nothing else coming, I'd be happy with that. I mean, again, I can't say for sure, but based on what I've played so far, I think I would be happy with that, because there is a strong amount of content here from the get-go, and the game itself is so unique and so fun that, yeah, I mean, I feel like there's enough there to keep my interest for long enough.
Well, like you said, with just having, like, it really does seem like these 10 characters are our 10 characters. There's not going to be any more than this, other than the free updates down the line. But they also made a point of saying, like, every character can use every type of arm. And with that amount of variety, there's, like, over 4,000 combinations, they said.
Right.
Just of different ways you can do this. And that's, I mean, people are definitely going to find their favorites and whatnot, but it's still that you can find what works best for you, what character works best for you, and just all the different stages. I like this variety. I like you, I don't think I would get bored if this was just the game. Adding in that extra content, keeping people coming back to try out these new characters and new stages and whatever else they might throw in. Great idea. New arms, actually, they said as well.
It is. You know, like, my only concern is it still feels weird to me that they're launching this with a Splatoon-like model so close to Splatoon 2, which presumably will also have a Splatoon-like model. I just hope that they don't conflict with each other, but maybe, you know, maybe we'll see a rubber band effect where they kind of like, you know, they build off each other, like people bounce between these two games.
What they really could do is just have an every other week thing where, hey, here's a week of new ARMS content, here's a week of new Splatoon content, or something like that. Like, it's probably going to take a while to get new characters in there on new levels, but it's probably really easy to just pop in, like, hey, here's a new ARM to fight with, or that kind of thing, and test those out. And they don't have to do it right away, but there's, like, they can really keep up the momentum for this game, and that, as Splatoon showed, that is so important. Like, being able to keep people playing your game worked so well for that game, and I liked how, even as the intro to the direct itself, they were going into the mysterious origins of the ARMS fighters, and how it's like this, people were just sort of born that way, nobody really knows what's going on, or how it happens, and it's like, again, I got a nice Splatoon vibe just because of the secret scrolls and how it was sort of mysterious on that end. Like, Nintendo has just sort of like found a formula, so far it seems, that really works for their new IPs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, that is completely the right approach for this game. They do not need to explain anything about the origins of these stretchy arms or their powers. I love that they just, like, pontificate a bit about, oh, where do these things come from, and then just throw it all out, like, it doesn't matter, here's the game, and we're going to talk about how cool this game is. Like, that is exactly the right approach for this game.
I mean, it really does show Nintendo's gameplay first mantra, right? But, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, I love the presentation, like, I love the tongue-in-cheek nature of everything. It's like, we don't know why these arms are here, whatever, don't worry about it. We'll just, lampshade and move on. And
yeah, exactly.
barely even a lampshade. They're just diving full in on it doesn't matter. What did you guys think, though, of the additional modes we saw? Because, of course, we already knew about the fighting, but now we officially learned about the 2 versus 2 mode, as well as the different sports variations, like, volleyball and hoops. And, by the way, volleyball to me was a surprise, because I got to play pretty much everything at the event, except for volleyball, which I don't understand, because that mode looks really fun. I want to play volleyball.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't get a chance to look at it because I was so busy uploading other stuff, so I actually completely missed that section. So tell me about volleyball.
Well, the press release says it's a sport that involves knocking an explosive ball into the opponent's court. So it's like v-ball, but more, or like volleyball, but more extreme, basically,
Right.
is what it sounds like to me.
That sounds fun.
I can speak more in depth on the hoops mode I actually did play. Where basically the goal is to grab your opponent and you actually dunk them yourself. You're straight up dunking them like a ball, which is hilarious. And I thought it was fun. Like it seemed. My concern is there's not a ton of depth there. It really is just based around like just grabbing your opponent and just dunk them, which is hilarious. But there isn't much more to it. Like I was hoping you might be able to actually shoot, like shoot for the basket yourself, but that's not part of it at all. You just grab and then it shoots for you. So.
I mean, yeah, the various versus modes look really, really sweet. Like, I love how different each mode sounds like it is. On the other side, though, I am slightly concerned about what seems to be a lack of single-player content. Like, we have the main Grand Prix mode, but then that seems to be it. So I do wonder for people who are not planning on playing this with friends or who just want to play this as a solo game, I wonder what the longevity is like there.
Well, there is one thing. There's one mode it seems to be very much focused on the single player, and maybe you can play it with together with friends. I'm not sure, but there is a 1-on-100 mode where you defeat 100 enemies in a row, one at a time in this progressive battle mode. That can either be really fun or get really old really quick.
I'm gonna take a guess and say the latter. I haven't played it myself. So I could be off base, but I am getting the idea that this definitely is not a single player focused game. I do think, like Splatoon. I mean, in fact, I don't even think the single player will be as strong as Splatoon's was.
My basic hopes at this point, and maybe we'll get it. Maybe, like I said, that opening does give me a little bit of hope that it might happen. But the Grand Prix mode will work like every other arcade mode, where you get a little bit of a backstory on these fighters, why they're fighting in the Grand Prix, and then they win the Grand Prix, and what's their reward, how does their story go from there, and just give us a little bit more backstory and personality for each of these characters. Like, the designs are great, but let's get a little bit more personality for them too, and I hope the Grand Prix does that.
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, that's true. Yeah, we don't see a lot of these characters' personalities, although a little bit does come through in the like the victory animations, which granted like 3 seconds. But I just want to stress again, I love the character design in this game. It is so strong. I love it. Like it's so distinctive.
Yeah, no, I am completely right there with you. And I think, actually, even when we first saw the game and played it back at the January event, Andre, I think the first thing we both thought then was Overwatch then, too.
Yeah.
So I think the inspiration is very clear here.
Definitely. I guess, getting back to the single-player point real quick, there is the, I guess, being able to upgrade your arms by buying additional arms to use on your character. That might provide, an incentive to replay some of those single-player modes.
Sure.
I know you also earn currency in multiplayer too, by the way. So it seems like you'll earn currency for pretty much doing anything in the game, is my guess.
Okay.
Yeah, which is a good idea to do. Just keep people going and getting those more arms and all the different varieties. And
right.
Yeah.
and I do agree with you, by the way, Derek, about that Grand Prix mode. Like, even just a little bit, like I'm thinking Street Fighter style, where maybe each character has their own very short ending that tells, like you said, it shows, what they were fighting for and then what they're going to do after. Even that would be enough. I just hope there's something per character for the Grand Prix mode.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the characters themselves will actually talk. It might just, even if it's just narrated by Biff.
Yeah, or even
like
no
Biff.
voice acting. Like, even if it's just like on-screen text, like with some art, that would be cool too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to guess there's no voice acting in this game beyond maybe an announcer, the one from the Direct. I didn't get any hint of that in the version I played, which apparently was pretty much the final version, by the way. So yeah, I think if the characters did speak, I think they would have shown it here. Especially, there was one part where I actually expected characters to speak, and the announcer just quoted them. So
yeah,
that I'm not surprised at that approach at all.
Right. I guess before we move on, we've pretty much touched on everything here. I just want to kind of, so looking at what they're doing for the online here, I'm really excited. I think this has potential to be one of Nintendo's best online games. At the same time, they have to nail it here. Having a strong connection is key. Like in Mario Kart, whenever you get occasional lag, it's not a big deal. Like that game can kind of fudge what's going on. In a game like this, you're going to need, like, any server errors or connectivity issues are going to be a major problem if they crop up. So I'm really hoping that they nail it. And as part of that, the party mode sounds awesome until I realized, wait, there's no way to talk to anyone yet.
Yeah.
Which I'm hoping is functionality that they fully deliver when their app launches this fall. Hopefully only a few months after ARMS comes out. So yeah, that's going to be a bit of a drag on the party mode when there's no way to talk to your teammates, or not teammates, even your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that, but in that way, I can also see, because of the way the game is played, if you're going to use motion controls, it should be pretty easy to just pop in some earbuds, pop your phone into your pocket, and talk to them while you're punching. You know,
Right.
keep your arms free and whatnot, and that way you can stand up and do your thing. Because I'm guessing you're. Did you try playing this while sitting down, Andre?
You know what's funny is, so they had chairs there, and almost, from what I could tell, almost no one used it. I didn't use it. I felt like I had to stand up for this game.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too far into it, but again, we'll have its own separate discussion with my in-depth impressions. But yeah, I didn't want to sit down. I felt standing up felt natural for this. And on top of it, too, one of my colleagues there, he actually did try sitting down, and he gave up immediately after the first match. He's like, dude, I gotta be standing up for this game. I cannot sit down playing ARMS.
Yeah.
So I was getting into it. Like I say in the preview, I was working up a sweat, and my arms were sore the next day from playing this game so
Intensively.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am extremely grateful, though, that the global test fire is going over the course of 3 days over the course of 2 weekends, because I'm honestly going to be away for the first set of days, and I'm going to miss out on those. I'm like, oh no! And then I was looking at the dates, like, oh thank God, June 2nd to 4th, I can manage those and actually play.
Right.
Right.
It also makes me wonder, like, you talked. The reason I asked about sitting down is, like, we're probably going to try to stream those, Andre. How are we going to have the microphone next to us while we're up and punching?
Oh, time to get lapels, I guess.
Well, I kind of figured that for streaming purposes, we would all just play with the non-motion controls, the button controls.
Oh man,
I couldn't. I couldn't do it.
I mean, I haven't seen the controls yet. Nintendo is being very vague on how those are going to work.
Okay.
But I honestly can't imagine playing any other way now. These controls just feel right with this game. Like I say in the preview, like, you know, motion controls have a bit of a stigma. I cannot imagine playing this game any other way, but they've worked so well for it and work well. You know, they just work well for what they are and do things I don't know if you could do on a controller. We'll find out soon, hopefully. But in fact, I wonder if we'll be able to try it out with the test punch or whatever.
My guess is that you will. I would be shocked if they made it motion controls only for the test punch.
Yeah. Guess so.
Yeah.
Well, guys, any final points about ARMS you want to touch on before we move on to Splatoon? Like, do you want to mention your favorite character you're excited to play as, or anything else?
I was actually looking at the character list, and I have no idea who I want to play. Like, I'm probably leaning towards Min Min the most.
I love her design too.
Yeah.
God, yeah. So obviously, I'm really excited to play Twintel. Like, I really like her, but also Helix. I think I love his design, or its design, and also Min Min, like you said. I think those are my three that I'm really gravitating toward right now.
I for whatever reason, he's not my favorite design-wise, but I was getting really good with Kid Cobra. Nintendo actually had a tournament there, like a little, you know, you didn't win anything. They made a big deal out of that. Like, you're winning nothing for this, a big pile of nothing. And I destroyed everyone, by the way, as Kid Cobra. Because for me, this is how I ended up with freaking Metal Mario. This is why I'm stuck with them to this day. Once I find someone I'm good with, I will keep using them until I start losing it with that character. So until I start getting my butt kicked, you know, online as Kid Cobra, I'm stuck with them. So that's that's my character.
I gotta say, I love Kid Cobra's arena, though. There's like little tops that you can jump on.
It is so fun.
Have those crazy fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I was asking because I was uploading something at the time. I wasn't able to pay attention to the stream. I came back and I saw him doing that. I'm like, is this a special mode, or is that actually part of his stage, or is that like an ability of his? And you're like, no, this is just part of his stage. I'm like, holy crap, that's cool.
Yep.
And I love that Kid Cobra's whole story and his whole reason for entering this tournament is to get more viewers on his quote-unquote radical live streams. I love the marketing for this game. It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah. And even in the PR thing, it says, a fan of selfie sticks and live streaming, this fighter pounces on opponents with a charged up dash. So that's who's representing you, Andre.
So good.
That's right. Well, I think we can move on now, right? Should we talk about Splatoon 2?
I suppose so.
All right.
Yes.
So that trailer gave us a really good look at the single player. Our first, like, true, real good look at the single player. And my God, guys, I'm all in on this. This looks great. Like, this is what I wanted. They're showing what is making Splatoon 2 what it is. And I love that in the campaign so far, it seems like they really are delivering on expanding what the first one did. Both in terms of story, which we'll get into, and I'm sure Derek gave a lot to say on what we've seen, and we'll have in the analysis. But also, I love that we saw a variety of weapons being used. We saw new gameplay mechanics. We saw grinding rails, which looks amazing. What do you guys think? What do you think of the trailer?
So happy.
Yeah, this trailer is so freaking good.
Yeah.
It is just stuffed with content, and I love, like, I was really excited, like, what new level design elements are they going to have for these stages? That's what I was most curious about. And right off the bat, rail grinding. Yes, let's get even more 90s in this baby and just show it off. And just like the sheer variety, like we got new Octarians, we see the Inklings using different weapons. Sheldon makes an appearance, so that you'll get that aspect of it. Like it just seems so much more robust. On the other hand, I'm looking at that trailer and I'm like, oh god, I have to analyze this. And there is so much stuffed in every single frame of that trailer. There is just layers upon layers of details to go over, and I'm gonna be in hell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Derek being in hell notwithstanding, I loved that trailer. I love the way that it built up to everything too, because it just opened with that kind of nondescript, kind of casual walk through Inkopolis Square, and like, well, where are we going with this? And suddenly there's Marie, and suddenly we're following her down into the new hub area, and then I love the way it was presented. And yeah, I'm really liking the, I guess, again, using the word again, diversity in the stage designs here this time. Like, it looks like we're going to get a lot more different mechanics to deal with, like, as you said, Derek, rail grinding. And really, for me, I just hope that comes along with a slightly longer campaign, too.
Yeah.
I want to see more diverse stages, but also more stages, just because as good as Splatoon 1's campaign was, it was so short. And I really would like Splatoon 2's to have a little more staying power, but I am so completely excited about everything I saw in those single-player stages. I'm so hyped.
I love the boss on the little unicycle, the big boss, the little unicycle.
Like, matched up to the music, it was so good.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, in fact, I mean, I touch on a larger point. The presentation of these recent directs, this one in particular, have been fantastic. They've done a great job just presenting these games in a way that looks fun to play. And my god, I need to play Splatoon 2 right now.
Yeah.
Right? And that new logo, too. I didn't think they'd debut a new logo so close to release, but I'm liking that, too.
I'm not sure if I noticed a new logo, honestly.
Or maybe it's an alternate logo, but it's definitely not the one that they're using.
I see. It's alternate logo that's more based around the Octarians.
Okay, so it's not the one they're going to use, but it's just a different one.
Yeah, that'd be my guess. Like it's because you have that little bit of promotional art at the very end that it's set up like a movie poster type thing.
Sure.
That kind of that sort of thing. And yeah, I am so hyped for this. I need it just because I again, all the different gameplay elements, we're getting a little bit of a better idea. Like, even the PR thing gives us a little bit of an idea of what the story's going to be. It says, in a shocking twist, Callie, of the Squid Sisters fame, has gone missing, and her right tentacle squid, Marie, asks the player to search for Callie and the Great Sapfish. Players can use different weapons in single-player mode to overcome obstacles, defeat enemies, and take down towering bosses. Weapons like the Roller, Slosher, Splatling, or the new Dualies, using those weapons, and the single-player mode is once again designed to teach players tips and tricks that they can use for multiplayer. So it might be a little longer than the original, but I don't think it's going to be that much longer.
Really,
probably not.
I think I'll throw it out there. It'll be twice as long as the first one at least, because the reason I say this is with them mixing up all the different weapons into there, seemingly the different weapon types rather. They're going to have to add more content, otherwise you're not going to get a really good grasp on some of those weapons. With the first one, you're only using the splatter shot. So I think here...
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So I think they're going to get a little bit more ambitious here, especially with the story and the whole missing, the whole Callie missing angle. And by the way, I think this really does prove the fact that Marie is the best Squid Sister, because she can handle herself. Like, she's not getting kidnapped. She knows how to take care of herself. She's going after to rescue her stupid sister. And I wonder, by the way, like I kind of hope that there's like a moral choice at the end. Like, do you want to save Callie or not? And I'll let you know every time.
Why would you even go that far? What? So not only am I not going to take that bait, I'm going to say that I just love that we didn't even know. Nintendo's been playing this long con where ever since this final Splatfest of Splatoon 1, we had no idea, but they were using that as fodder for the story of Splatoon 2. And we were completely... Like, we had no idea we were participating in this. And I love that, because, I mean, we know that if Callie had won, it would be the opposite scenario, where Marie would have been the one kidnapped and missing, and I just think that's so cool.
That's really cool. No, I love that. Like, the way they've handled Splatoon and now ARMS, I'm just digging everything about these games. Yeah, I love how they've been incorporating the real world in subtle ways. Like that's such a smart and unique thing to do.
Yeah,
and even the Squid Sister stories, the last one that went up was all about Callie going missing. Where'd she go? And we don't know. Now we get our answers, kind of, with this. And I love that little thing, like she's just hanging. That one line that Marie has, like, I saw by the way you were aimlessly wandering through the square that you were the one.
And I also liked, I think later on too, something she said, wait, you've never heard of me? You don't know who I am? And she was freaking out that like the player had not heard of her, and I thought that was really cute too.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's very well handled. It definitely has the old humor still very much there, and I mean, I want to say more, but I really do need to just dive deep into this trailer.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the thing. They showed off so much, like there isn't that much to talk about, simply because we didn't have time to process it all. And I've seen this thing twice. They actually showed it to us at the ARMS event last week. And even then, I'm like, oh my god, there's so much going on here. I have to break this down before we're talking about it. But what I do know is I'm excited. And it's hard to believe to me that we're getting ARMS and this within a month of each other. Within a month, we're having what look to be two awesome games. Two extremely fun games. It's almost too much. It's overload.
Yeah, no, I mean the release schedule really has seemed to work out in Nintendo's favor. Like I think they're doing a great job timing out these releases so that people always have something new to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people that were worried that because ARMS got stuck in like July and June, like shortly after E3, a lot of people were thinking like, well, they're just sending it out there to die since it can't really be covered. But I don't know. It might be the case, but it's also, with the support they just showed it here, it really feels like, okay, here's all our stuff we have coming from E3. By the way, you can play ARMS in a week. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, that brings up a good point, actually. I don't know if you touched on this yesterday in your predictions discussion, but the fact that they've fully blown out this game now, I think kind of means they won't be showing off too much of it at E3. I mean, I think they'll definitely touch on it. They want to bring up the fact, hey, this is coming out in 3 days. Go buy it. Or
yeah.
Well, I think they're having an ARMS invitational tournament. Like, I think that's how they're going to do it. Is they're going to have the full game there.
Yeah, they're going to have an ARMS Open Invitational and a Splatoon 2 invite. So it seems like for both games, they're probably not going to get a lot of focus at the E3 show, at the E3 Direct whatever presentation itself. And they're probably just going to get a few more details maybe during these tournaments, or at least use the tournaments as a way to really show them off.
Oh yeah,
which I think is smart.
I mean, and it'll appear in the Treehouse live stream too, I'm sure as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, sorry. I should clarify. When I meant by E3, I meant their direct stream. It'll have a minimal presence there. They'll mention it. It'll definitely be at E3. It'll be playable at E3 too, I'm sure. Even though most of the press hopefully will have it by then. But
you would think so, but this is the year where extra people can go visit. So
that's a good point. Actually, that's a great point.
Way to,
You're right.
It's a really good idea.
I also kind of think that we may end up seeing one more Splatoon 2 Direct after E3, like between E3 and the game's launch, because it does still feel like there's quite a bit about the game that we don't know, and there's enough content there for them to focus for one more Direct.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, we still need stages, more modes, a proper introduction of what Inkopolis Square has to offer. There's still plenty of mystery waiting for us in Splatoon 2.
Absolutely. Well, guys, any final thoughts about anything related to Splatoon 2 or the Direct in general before we wrap it up?
I have one final thought.
All right, go for it.
And that is, I just want to state for the record that if the situation was reversed and Marie was the one you had to go save, I would save her every time. I'm on Team Callie, but man, I have a heart. I'd save Marie every time. So that is my last thing to say.
And Andre is a bit harsh there, but before we wrap this up here, what would you guys grade this Direct, since we usually give these things grades?
Oh, that's a good one. I mean, yeah, it's weird, but I didn't think of it quite as a Nintendo Direct, even though it is, but it is branded an ARMS Direct. I'll go last. I'm going to process this.
Man, okay.
Honestly,
Derek, you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go first. I would give this... Honestly, I'd have to go with an A. I think they presented everything very well. I'm really not left wanting. They had legitimate surprises in there, things that got me excited, and then Splatoon, of course, just had a great trailer. And I was like, maybe an A-, but I'm like, I can't think of any faults off the top of my head, so I'm going to have to give this an A.
Yeah, I mean, at the risk of sounding exactly the same, I was thinking an A-, but again, I couldn't think of anything that I really disliked about the Direct, so I think I have to go with an A, because there really weren't any missteps taken here. And what's really ironic about it is that going into this Direct, I wasn't really that hyped, because it seemed like it was just going to be a part 2 of the last Direct we watched, and I was like, okay, whatever, you know, I'm kind of excited about ARMS, but then suddenly, this is a great Direct, and now I'm really excited about ARMS, so I don't think you could ask for anything more out of a Direct, and then there's Splatoon 2 as well, so gotta be an A for me, I think.
Alright, so my perspective is a little bit different because I saw most of this content last week, so, you know, there weren't really surprises to me. With that said, if I were grading this, you know, for what it aimed to do, being show off ARMS and the Splatoon trailer, I think it nailed it. It did a great job showing off those games. In that sense, it's an A. So I agree with you. However, if you grade it as a Nintendo Direct, you know, we typically expect a little bit more from them just in terms of the number of announcements and the types of announcements being, you know, more surprises and whatnot. So in that case, I'd give it a B+. So again, it's, you know, it depends how you look at it. So I think it was a very good Direct no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, I could totally see that being the case. It was just very solid. Again, yeah, there's maybe not any bombshells outside of the test punch, I believe, and then the free content. That to me is a bombshell. But you're right. As far as Focus Directs go, this is just very good, and it maybe doesn't have the surprises or anything. And it also might be benefiting from the fact that, like Ash said, we didn't have a lot of expectation for this, and it blew away those low expectations.
Yeah, I mean, that really could be it. I mean, I didn't really have that many expectations going into it, and on top of that, to kind of comment on what you said, Andre, I haven't really been following ARMS all that closely. I've been following it as closely as I need to, but I haven't been really going hard on all the granular details like you have. So a lot of the stuff was surprising to me, like Twintel. Again, that was a surprise to me. So that to me was like a big deal. And then like the stuff like V-Ball and the different modes, like I thought that was really cool. And then the Splatoon 2 story thing and the single player look, that was a total bombshell to me because I didn't see any of that coming, especially, you know, the whole tying into the Squid Sister stories and the real life Splatfest results. That was a huge plus for me. So yeah, I think I gotta go with an A.
There is actually one more thing we should talk about, considering that people will probably, I mean it's going to be covered in the analysis, but I've already seen so many people talk about it as well. That movie poster-esque thing where Ash was talking about the logo, like that figure at the top. I think everybody has the same idea of who that is. Let's be honest here.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I to just comment on that. If they go where it looks like they're going, holy crap, that's brilliant, and we might have a new contender for great final boss if they handle it right.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Team Cali will not stand for the Octarians kidnapping the best Squid Sister. All right, we're not gonna stand for it. We're gonna take the fight to the Octarians. All
right. Well, I think that about wraps up for us here, right, guys? Anything else?
I think that's it.
Yeah, I think I've covered everything.
All right, well, thanks so much for watching. If you liked our discussion, make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter at GameXplain. You can find links to them in the description below. It's a good way to keep up to date on everything you post. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for lots more on ARMS and Splatoon 2 very soon, I'm sure, and everything else Nintendo Switch as well. Catch you later. Bye.